All right, so diving in head first as always, and today we're looking at something pretty mind-blowing, even for us, AI in filmmaking. Not just like, little bits and pieces, but AI that can actually create realistic films.
Yeah, we're talking full-on movie magic, but powered by algorithms, and it's moving so fast.
It really is. In preparing for this, I mean, even just looking back a couple of years,
Yeah.
the progress is insane.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so for everyone listening, we're going deep on this. And by the way, big shout out to Philip over at Le Podcast, to Philip for inspiring this deep dive.
Definitely.
So we're talking AI that can generate videos from text prompts, animate still images, even create these crazy realistic characters and dialogue.
That's just scratching the surface. We'll get into how some of this tech is being used to streamline pretty much every part of filmmaking, from, coming up with a story to actually editing the final cut.
And for anyone who's ever, dreamed of making a movie, this is huge. These tools are making filmmaking way more accessible, like way more.
And potentially way faster and cheaper, too. I mean, some of the stuff we'll be talking about lets you create a short film in, days.
Days. It's wild. Okay, but before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's start with one platform that's really kind of leading the charge here. Runway Gen-2.
Right. It's been making waves, and for good reason. It's capable of producing short video clips just from text descriptions. You give it a prompt, and boom, it spits out a video.
Like, how short are we talking? Couple seconds?
Around 4 seconds, at least for the free accounts. Which, I mean, it's not a feature film, but it's still a pretty big deal when you consider what's happening under the hood.
Yeah, and it's not just text to video, right?
Nope. It can also take a still image and animate it. Or, even crazier, it can take the style of one video and apply it to another.
Whoa. And on top of all that, it's got these really sophisticated features like motion brush, where you can literally just paint the movement you want.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The motion brush is awesome. And, virtual camera controls too. Zoom, pan, tilt, all that stuff that used to require a whole camera crew.
And it's all super user-friendly, right? Accessible through a web browser or an iOS app.
Yeah, it's pretty intuitive. You just choose your mode, type in your prompt, tweak a few parameters, and then hit generate.
So anyone with a laptop and an idea can start experimenting with this.
Pretty much, yeah. And you can customize things like the aspect ratio, resolution, even the intensity of the motion.
And the quality is pretty impressive too, from what I've seen.
Definitely. In some user studies, people actually preferred the visuals created with Runway Gen-2 compared to more traditional methods.
Okay, that's pretty wild. So is this the beginning of the end for those big, expensive Hollywood productions?
Well, maybe not quite yet. There are still limitations, like those 4-second clips, for example. And sometimes you get these weird surreal effects or unwanted distortions.
So still some kinks to work out.
Right. But even with those limitations, it's a huge step forward. I mean, just the fact that you can create these kinds of visuals without needing a ton of expensive equipment, that's game-changing.
For sure. And it's not just Runway, right?
Yeah.
There are tons of other AI tools popping up all over the place.
Oh, yeah. By 2025, there's going to be a whole ecosystem of these things, each with its own specialty.
Okay, so give me the rundown. What else is out there?
Well, there's Synthesia AI, for example. It's really good at creating professional-looking videos from text scripts. Like, if you need a corporate presentation or an explainer video, Synthesia can handle it.
Cool. And it uses animated avatars, right? So you don't even need to be on camera.
Exactly. And it supports over 140 languages.
Wow, so you could reach a global audience.
Yeah, definitely. Then you've got Fleeky, which is great for converting text to both video and audio.
Oh, so you could, write out a dialogue and have Fleeky turn it into a conversation between AI voices.
Yep, and they sound pretty realistic, too.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then there's Vidnoz AI, right? That was free, I think.
Yeah, Vidnoz is a good option if you're just getting started. It's got a bunch of pre-made avatars and templates you can use.
Cool. And we can't forget about Eli.io, which we'll talk about more in a bit. It's supposed to be super powerful for large-scale video production.
Oh, yeah. Eli.io is pretty incredible. It's got all these advanced features for translation and customization.
Okay. And then there's HeyGen, which is all about creating hyper-realistic avatars.
Right. If you need a digital spokesperson or something like that, HeyGen is your go-to.
And then there's Descript, which is totally unique. It lets you edit video and audio by editing the text transcript.
Yeah, Descript is kind of mind-blowing. It's like having a word processor for your videos.
And lastly, there's Pictory, which focuses on turning text content into engaging videos.
So basically, if you have a blog post or an article, you can just feed it into Pictory and it'll create a video for you.
It's incredible. I mean, I've taken together all these tools. It's like we're on the verge of a complete paradigm shift in filmmaking.
Oh, absolutely. It used to be that you needed a huge team and a ton of money to make a movie. But now with AI, a single person can potentially create something that looks and sounds just as good.
So is the role of the filmmaker going to change? Like that less about technical execution and more about directing these AI tools?
Yeah, I think we're going to see a shift towards a more curatorial approach to filmmaking. The AI will handle a lot of the heavy lifting, but it'll still be up to the human director to guide the process and make sure the final product tells a compelling story.
Okay, so let's talk about that process. If we were to create a film entirely using AI, what would that workflow look like?
Well, first you'd need to come up with the story. That's where tools like Genaro come in. It can help you generate a full-blown narrative structure, complete with character arcs and plot twists.
Whoa, so we're talking AI that can come up with the entire story, like a screenwriter.
Pretty much, yeah. And then you can use something like ChatGPT to refine the dialogue and flesh out specific scenes.
Okay, that's wild. So story's done. What's next? Characters.
Yep. For photorealistic 3D characters, there's MetaHuman, which is part of Unreal Engine. It lets you create these incredibly lifelike digital humans with really nuanced expressions.
And you can actually animate them in Unreal Engine, right? So they can move around and interact with their environment.
Exactly. And if you want to start with a 2D image or a sketch, you can use Photoshop, along with apps like FaceApp or Gradient, to transform them into realistic portraits.
Oh, cool. Like I've seen those examples of artists who take Disney characters or Marvel characters and turn them into like photorealistic versions.
Yeah, exactly. And for simpler character creation, there are also tools like Photor and Vidnoz AI.
So we've got the story, we got the characters. What about the actual visuals of the film, like the sets and the special effects?
Well, that's where Runway Gen-2 comes back into play. You can use it to generate entire video sequences based on your text descriptions.
And we've also got Midjourney, which is amazing for creating storyboards and visualizing those cinematic sets.
Right. Midjourney is like having a concept artist on demand. You can use it to get a really strong sense of the overall look and feel of your film before you even start shooting.
And then for those big blockbuster-style special effects, there's Adobe Firefly, which is integrated into Premiere Pro.
Yeah, Firefly can generate some really sophisticated effects. You can also use it to extend existing footage so you don't need to film as much.
And we can't forget about sound. What about the voices and the music?
For voiceovers, there's 11 Labs. They have this incredible technology that can create natural-sounding voices with different emotional inflections.
Oh, wow. So you could actually have your AI characters deliver lines with real emotion.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And for music, there's Udio, which can compose original soundtracks that are tailored to the specific mood of your film.
So if we were to put all this together, you could have Genero for the story, Midjourney and Runway for the visuals, MetaHuman for the characters, 11 Labs for the voices, and Adobe Premiere Pro with Firefly for post-production.
That's basically a complete AI-powered filmmaking pipeline.
And people are already doing this, right?
Yeah.
Like I've seen those YouTube tutorials where people create short films in like a couple of days using just a handful of these AI tools.
Exactly. It's becoming more and more accessible. But it's important to remember that AI is still just a tool. It's not going to replace human filmmakers entirely.
Right. The human element is still crucial. You need someone with a vision, someone who can tell a story and connect with an audience.
Absolutely. The AI can provide the building blocks, but it's up to the human director to assemble them into something meaningful and engaging.
Okay, so let's talk about Eli.io in a bit more detail. You mentioned earlier that it's really powerful for large-scale video production. What exactly can it do?
Well, one of its coolest features is its ability to turn written content into videos automatically. Like if you have a blog post or an article, you can just feed it into Eli.io and it'll create a video for you.
Whoa, and it uses those realistic human avatars, right?
Yeah, and they have really accurate lip sync. Eli.io also supports over 75 languages, so you can reach a global audience.
And you can customize the voices too, right?
Oh, yeah. You have total control over the tone, the accent, the speed, even the emotion of the voice.
That's pretty impressive. And it has this voice cloning feature too, doesn't it?
Yeah, you can actually record a sample of your own voice and have Eli.io create a digital clone that you can use in your videos.
So if you need a consistent voice across multiple projects, you can just use your own voice clone.
Exactly. And on top of all that, Eli.io has a full suite of video editing tools. You can add effects, transitions, filters, text animations, all that stuff.
And it has those interactive elements too, right? Like quizzes and clickable buttons.
Yep, which makes it really useful for marketing videos or educational content.
And it even provides analytics so you can track how your videos are performing.
Right, you can see how many views you're getting, how long people are watching, and all that good stuff.
So it's like a one-stop shop for video creation.
Pretty much, yeah. And it integrates with learning management systems like Thinkific, which is really helpful for educators.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the technical side of things, but what about the creative process itself? How can AI actually enhance the creative process of filmmaking?
Well, for one thing, it can help you generate ideas. Like if you're stuck on a script, you can use AI to brainstorm different plot points or character motivations.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So AI can be like a creative partner, helping you explore different possibilities.
Exactly. It can also help you develop your characters more deeply. You can use AI to create character sheets that outline their backstories, their personalities, their strengths and weaknesses.
And you can even use AI to generate dialogue, right?
Yep. Which can be really helpful for getting those initial scenes down on paper.
And then you can go back and refine the dialogue, making it sound more natural and adding those little nuances that make your characters feel real.
Right. AI can help you get the ball rolling, but it's still up to the human writer to bring those characters to life.
And then there's storyboarding. Traditionally, that's a very time-consuming process. But with AI, you can create photorealistic storyboards directly from your text descriptions.
Yeah, it's amazing. You can just type in a scene description, and the AI will generate a series of images that visualize that scene.
And you can specify the camera angles, the lighting, all that stuff.
Exactly. So you can get a really good sense of how the scene is going to look before you even start shooting.
And it's not just individual scenes. AI can even help you with world building, which is essential for genres like science fiction and fantasy.
Yeah, you can use AI to design entire alien species, complete with their own unique biology, culture, and history.
That's pretty mind-blowing. And then there's cinematography, the art of using the camera to tell a story. How can AI contribute to that?
Well, AI can help you choose the right camera angles, the right lighting, the right composition to evoke the desired emotions in your audience.
So it's like having a virtual cinematographer at your side, offering suggestions and helping you make those creative decisions.
Exactly. But even with all these incredible AI tools, it's important to remember that the human element is still paramount.
Right. The filmmaker's vision, their perspective, their passion, that's what ultimately makes a film great.
AI can be a powerful tool for bringing that vision to life, but it can't replace the human heart and soul of filmmaking.
So to wrap things up, it's clear that AI is revolutionizing the world of filmmaking. It's making the process faster, cheaper, and more accessible than ever before.
But it's not just about technology. It's about using that technology to tell better stories, to connect with audiences on a deeper level.
And it's up to us as filmmakers to embrace these new tools and use them to push the boundaries of what's possible in cinema.
Absolutely. AI is giving us the power to create worlds and tell stories that we could only dream of before.
And it's raising some really interesting questions about the future of filmmaking. Like, as AI becomes more and more sophisticated, what role will human creativity play?
What unique perspectives and experiences can human filmmakers bring to the table that AI can't replicate?
And what new forms of cinematic expression might emerge from this collaboration between human and artificial intelligence? These are some really thought-provoking questions, and we encourage you to consider them as you explore the world of AI filmmaking. And before we go, we want to remind you that we're trying to reach 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So if you're enjoying the deep dive, please consider subscribing. It really helps us out.
It does. Thanks for listening, everybody.
And thanks for joining us on this incredible journey into the future of filmmaking.